In this combat example, I would like to show off many different rules: mounted combat, lariats and guns. However, since I'm not playing against myself, I don't know if all of them will come up. So let's see. Here we're going to have a Texas cowboy fighting two Minotaurs. The cowboy will have a revolver, a lariat, a knife and a horse. The Minotaurs will have horns and great axes that are strong enough to deliver a major wound to a horse. The horns were built as natural weapons from Pyramid 365. The cowboy starts with his revolver in his hand, so he aims it at the northern Minotaur. Using his other hand, he pulls on the reins to have his horse take a step back. According to the mounted combat rules, aiming when the mount moves faster than a step is penalized in the same way as aiming from a moving vehicle. The Minotaurs move forward, brandishing their great axes. The cowboy keeps aiming and also rotates the horse north, while moving in the same direction. The Minotaurs keep advancing. The cowboy takes the wait maneuver, waiting to shoot at the leg of the northern Minotaur once he comes closer. The Minotaurs advance, and the wait maneuver is triggered. The cowboy fires his gun, but misses unfortunately. The cowboy readies his lariat and moves his horse 8 yards north, also deciding to speed up to move 16 on the next turn. The Minotaurs move too. The cowboy rides 16 yards behind the light vegetation, then decides to slow down to move 8. While doing that, he also aims his lariat at the northern Minotaur. The cowboy rides 8 yards and throws his lariat, targeting the Minotaur's feet. GURPS lariat only has a range of 3 yards, which seems way too short according to what I've read online. We decide to let it have a range 10. This particular throw is done at range 4. The Minotaur tries to dodge, but fails. The legs are snagged. The Minotaur has to roll against dexterity -4 because he was running. He falls, taking 1d-2 crushing damage. At the end of his turn, the cowboy accelerates his horse to move 16. On his own turn, the Minotaur tries to free himself. He rolls a quick contest of strength against the horse. However, he fails to do that. The other Minotaur does a move and attack to swing at the horse at reach 3, but misses. Now here's a question that GURPS doesn't seem to have an answer for, at least I haven't found it in any of the books. How does dragging the lassoed Minotaur affect encumbrance? When you're lifting something, you have to overcome gravity. When you pull something, you only have to overcome friction. In the player's handbook for D&D 3.5 it says the following: a character can generally push or drag along the ground as much as 5 times his or her maximum load. Favorable conditions, such as being on smooth ground or dragging a sleek object, can double these numbers, and bad circumstances, such as being on broken ground or pushing an object that snags, can reduce them to 1/2 or less. You can use this rule without any changes in GURPS if you want. Alternatively, you may look up the dynamic friction coefficient for the pair of interacting materials. I failed to find the skin to dirt coefficient, but leather, in general, seems to have this coefficient at around 0.3, so I went with that. This turned a 700-pound Minotaur into a 210-pound Minotaur for the purpose of encumbrance. However, this still brings the horse into heavy encumbrance, decreasing its basic move to 3 and top speed to 6. The cowboy rides southward at top speed, which is 6, not 16, that I mentioned before. And he also tries to run the lassoed Minotaur into the standing Minotaur. How do you do that in GURPS? There are no rules for that, and I believe that the closest thing is proxy fighting, a cinematic combat rule from GURPS Martial Arts. Instead of using these rules, I will resolve this as a lasso-based slam, at an extra -2 penalty for range. And you know what? I'll try using the DFRPG slam rules this time. Before I do that, the cowboy has to roll against riding +2 to force his horse to enter mud, which counts as difficult terrain. Then we need a roll to hit from the cowboy. The cowboy hits and the Minotaur may defend. Since the target fails to defend, both Minotaurs roll their thrust -2 damage and add a bonus that depends on the number of hexes moved this turn. The Minotaur body should move 5 hexes, so you'll add +2. The lassoed Minotaur dealt more than twice damage than the standing one, so the standing one automatically falls down. The knocked prone Minotaur takes the change posture maneuver to switch from prone to kneeling. The lassoed Minotaur tries to break free. He rolls a quick contest of strength against the horse. Yet again he fails to break free. The cowboy keeps riding through the mud. Mud is considered bad footing and a slippery surface. Thus, the horse has to make a dexterity -2 roll to remain standing. It just makes it, and to be honest, that was pretty lucky. The mud still slows down movement, so it only moves 3 yards. The cowboy himself readies his revolver. At this point, I remember that the cowboy forgot to put the gun back into his holster after firing it for the first time. That was an oversight, but I'll let it slide this time. One of the Minotaurs gets up, and the other one rolls a quick contest of strength to free himself. Close, but not quite enough. The cowboy keeps riding at move 6 and aims at the lassoed Minotaur. The lassoed Minotaur tries to break free but fails. The other Minotaur moves forward to intercept. You know, dragging somebody along the ground this way would probably deal damage, but I failed to find any rules, not even in GURPS Old West book, surprisingly. The cowboy fires at the vitals of the lassoed Minotaur, and that's a critical hit. The cowboy has some lucky rolls today. I roll on the critical hit table and get a 5, the blow deals double damage. So the cowboy rolls damage and deals 36 injury. This is a major wound to the vitals, so a HT -5 roll is required to avoid knockdown. The Minotaur rolls, fails, and gets stunned. He also drops his great axe. On his own turn, the Minotaur tries to recover from stun, and he does so successfully. Well, this is a do-nothing maneuver, and the Minotaur should not roll against HT again to remain conscious, due to being in the negative HP. He is being violently dragged around, so I will make a ruling that he still has to do that, and he barely stays conscious. The other Minotaur does a movement attack, swinging his great axe at the cowboy, but misses. The cowboy gives his rope more slack to relieve the horse of extra encumbrance, and runs forward at the top possible speed. In this case, this is merely 8 yards, but more than enough to run away from the Minotaurs. The rope has full length of 16 yards. The lassoed Minotaur tries to change posture, but rolls against HT first, but he passes out. The other Minotaur takes a ready maneuver to ready his great axe after attacking and takes a step. The cowboy rides at top speed. He is trying to use the lariat rope to trip the other Minotaur. How do you do that in GURPS? I decide to use the rules for the sweep technique, but without a roll to hit, you can't really miss here. However, the Minotaur still can defend normally, as the rope should be taut enough to cut. The Minotaur elects to parry with his axe. However, he fails and now has to roll a quick contest of strength against the horse to remain standing. He loses and falls down. As soon as he does, the cowboy releases the rope and slows down to move 8. On his own turn, the Minotaur uses the change posture maneuver to switch from prone to kneeling. The cowboy keeps riding at move 8 while aiming at the Minotaur. The Minotaur stands up. The cowboy circles around the Minotaur and takes the weight maneuver to shoot his vitals as soon as he closes to within 3 yards. The Minotaur does a committed attack determined, moving forward 2 steps. This will allow him to ignore the skill cap of 9 for the move and attack maneuver, and if the cowboy misses when his weight triggers, he'll probably be struck down. First, we resolve the revolver shot. The Minotaur tries to dodge, even though his dodge is penalized due to his maneuver choice. He actually almost makes it, but almost doesn't count. The cowboy rolls damage. This is a major wound to the vitals, so a HT -5 roll is in order. The Minotaur's roll loses by 5, so he is knocked unconscious. The cowboy won with only 2 bullets left in his revolver, so he probably gets off the horse and ties up the bulls. Well, that was quite one-sided, but still very fun. We got to try out some rules that rarely ever get used, and these rules felt a bit incomplete, so I had to make up some rules on the fly. It feels like one could write an entire pyramid article around lariats and the lasso skill, but pyramid isn't really a thing anymore, unfortunately. Anyway, thank you for watching, I will see you next time.